I think it's a real thrill to be in the projection room here, because this is the projection room of the first cinema I came to in Leeds in 1972. And it's one of the oldest cinemas in Leeds, and it's still fantastic and going strong.
It's really, I mean, it was fun writing the book, but the places it's taken us since it's been published has been really interesting. And prior, I guess, you know, when we were talking to people about cinemas all over Leeds, but to be sat here with two massive projectors
in the place,
you know, where
and just in front of us there's the window in which you could see from the front of the Hyde Park Picture House, which we've always surmised was the window for the projection room. And here we are. It's really, really interesting, because I was talking to somebody who came to a reading of ours at Otley. I was talking to him a week or so back, and he was saying that he was very moved by the fact our poems were writing about stories that people had connected to films, and he said it stirred lots of memories for him.
When we started off, I didn't want it to be purely descriptive writing about every building. I mean, that we talked about that a lot, didn't we? It had to have that human connection, didn't it, to what each building means, and you know, the fact that someone said that.
It's great, isn't it?
It's fantastic.
But I think as a poet, when I'm writing, I'm writing sometimes my own stories, but sometimes I'm imagining other people's stories. So you've got a film, you've got a venue, you've got a time when people saw the film, and behind all of that is a human story.
Yeah.
Rio Bravo, 1959, Pictureland, Armley, starring John Wayne, Dean Martin, Ricky Nelson. Now, these buildings are in disguise. One, recently a carpet warehouse, is masked in a shrink wrap of plastic sheeting. Next door, the old Pictureland has become a laundrette, temporarily abandoned by staff and customers. It feels like the end of the world, and probably civilization. Christmas baubles hang with ghastly irrelevance. Old cinema doors are still visible, though ceilings and standards have been lowered. All around are admonishing notices in large print, prohibitions about customer behaviour addressed to us. But I am listening out for John Wayne and Ricky Nelson, spraying the baddies with bullets in Rio Bravo. Even they would not have lasted here, been shown the door, their odd socks held to ransom.
So when we visited what was the Pictureland first, on Branch Road in Armley, and then it was called the Western, and when we visited, it was sort of at the arse end of being a laundrette.
Yeah.
And we went there in February, and the Christmas decorations were still up, and there was forgotten underpants strewn across the floor.
It was full of deep glamour, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
We thought this is a glamorous project.
Yeah.
Fantastic, we did that. But it really confirmed to me, and when we went away and wrote our respective poems about it, it really confirmed to me that, you know, this is something that has been forgotten.
Yeah.
If we don't pay respect to the building, then we're not going to remember why they were there in the first place. lyric without James. This idea is finding a new ticklish body part, and now I'm here, more aware I miss his half-century of city, cabbies mistaking him for a bouncer. Doorman of our genre, oh rhythmic hulk, you've a grandmother that shares an East Midlands elbow with me, umbilically linked to my birthplace, avoiding this moment, sunlight behind pink lettering, the shadow of lyric across my forehead, looking up. Yeah, I definitely see it as a nostalgic and sad thing that these old cinemas aren't cinemas anymore. What they represent is communities, close-knit communities that used to all go to the same place, and everyone used to sit down and face the same way, a lot like when people who have religion do. I defy anyone who would say, oh, do you remember the night we streamed Ghostbusters onto my laptop? Or do you remember when we waited 2 hours to download the 300 and we watched it in my bedroom, I think. And you sort of get 20 minutes in, and because it's on the laptop, you think, it's not very good, I'll just turn that off. And then you go, well, what else are they recommending? And you go, well, we'll try that one. And then you go, that's a bit rubbish as well. So you don't even sort of sit down and appreciate an art form. It's almost like looking at a portrait and starting at the chest and going, I'm not impressed by that, so I'll look no further, I won't examine the face or anything like that. It's kind of throwaway, I suppose, is what happens.
I love the history, I love the memories, I love the nostalgia, but I clearly live in 2015, and I'm happy to live in 2015. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't remember and celebrate the kind of ways that people gather together in the past. For some people in the 90s, it was all to do to getting in a big room, taking loads of drugs and sweating a lot. That was their kind of way of coming together, and I would suspect that sporting occasions, big football matches, athletics and stuff like that, going to big concerts where you're all seeing your favourite person, whether it's whoever it is, kind of represents some of that same kind of church. But I'm old enough to think, well, things keep changing, and there's not a lot you can do about it apart from celebrate what you have and what you had.
That's true, but we are sat here in the oldest cinema in Leeds, aren't we? Well, not the oldest, Cottage Road is the oldest.
Is it old? I didn't know that.
Yeah. But this building's still here, and this building's still a cinema, and Cottage Road is. And there's a reason for that. People don't want to stay at home and
it's true.
stream a movie from a non-corporation taxpaying.
I came here to see It's a Wonderful Life a few years back, which is the most wonderful film with Jimmy Stewart. But I also saw The African Queen here with Catherine Hepburn and Humphrey Bogart. I'd only ever seen it on the telly. And to see one of those films in the kind of the size that it was designed for was really, really thrilling. And a very different experience from watching it on a screen at home, a laptop or a phone. I actually can't get into the idea of watching a whole film on my phone. But interestingly, we're here today to introduce a film that we both absolutely love, Billy Liar, which somehow is still here, 53 years later? I can't do the maths. 52?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be 52 years later, and we're here to celebrate the film that still has. I saw it 3 years ago. I saw it in '63 when it first came out. I saw it, and it still has the power. Cinemas are places for dating, and I can remember in the early 90s when I was single again, being invited by couples who were very new in their relationship to join them at the cinema and kind of not be a gooseberry. And this one was set in the Lounge in about 1994, which is now Sainsbury's. But it's still a very beautiful building. Okay, it's called Gooseberry. They asked me to go to the cinema with them, and I go touched that as a couple they're prepared to share. I sit with them, all of us munching and chatting, not feeling at all like a gooseberry until the film starts, and they somehow get closer, and while they're watching occasionally touch each other on the leg. It looks nice, friendly even. I consider for a moment about joining in, putting my hand on one of their knees, but stop myself just in time. Then I look at the legs of strangers down the row and wonder whether they would like it. It could be a bit of an icebreaker, but I rein myself in and instead touch one of my own legs and rub it lightly in a clockwise direction. It feels surprisingly good, but just in case anyone's looking, I pat my leg fiercely and stamp my foot down hard, as if I've got pins and needles.
I'm going to finish with a poem which is for Mum, and it's called Last Days of the Regal. Only of a knowing kindness, she donated surplus breast milk to orphans the night her eldest was born. 2 daughters down the line, this saint, holding a knit comb, strived to take her only son to the cinema, as well as reciting 12 times tables with him during the bike ride to school. Outside the cloakroom, she offered imperial mints that once mixed with bus fares and pills for her nerves knifed in half in her tabard pocket. So it's no surprise to recall an evening when she draped her coat over his trembling knees at a screening of Beauty and the Beast, the winter before the Regal shut its doors. Rather than stop the projector running, they refused to pay the heating bill, and for a week of showings, audiences shivered in rows, fixated on a singing candelabra, reaching a note that still makes her son cry into his bucket of popcorn, eyes streaming like a mother's breasts teeming with milk. Thank you.